James Carpenter with Country Living. What you see here is an aerial shot of what it's like to live in the country. That's the close-up of the facility. This is the backyard. That's the that flash there was the new storage building we built. As we come up the backyard, about in the middle of the screen there is the carport. And there's a picture of it being built. And then we have the fire ring there towards the right of the screen. There's a close-up of it. Now we're headed down towards, in this picture it's not there, the root cellar and the deck porch. We turned that mound of dirt into a root cellar with a deck porch built on top. That's the inside of it there. And that's the entry door there. That semi-trailer back there is full of firewood. That mound of dirt is on the north side of the property. It's a windbreak. This is the children's play area being built. It's the children's play area, tree fort, whatever you want to call it, just about finished. And there's the finished tree fort. This is the front of the office building. We did a remodel on it, covered it with plywood, and then covered that with actual 1" by 6" cedar from recycled telephone poles. On the right is the old sign for the business, and that's the new sign being built. And that's the finished new sign. The automotive repair shop is what you see here. It's the income source for the whole operation. We'll walk through and just show you around a little bit while I just talk about random stuff. Anyhow, the building was built in 1985. I purchased the entire property in 1974 and slowly but surely just put everything together that you see in this video. It obviously took a few years and a lot of overtime and different things like that, but that right there is an oil burning furnace, which is pretty cool. On the left there's the oil filters, and that's just different fluids and things that you need to operate. And then in the back room here, there is that lawnmower. That's Toro Z Master 60". It does most of the mowing. Over here we have the picture's a little bit dark, but that's all special tools that's required to perform the automotive repairs. And then more special tools over here and some printing paper. Just a massive amount of storage to keep the operation going. Different types of special oils and that. And over here we're going to show you fasteners, little plastic clips, all kinds of stuff it takes to fix the cars. That's a generator, 2-cylinder Owen, came out of an old camper, but that's used when the power goes down. Different bends for different fasteners. You know, country living, I don't know why people live in the country. Me personally, I just like the freedom, I like the space, I like the independence, and the way this facility set up, if we were to have some kind of a catastrophic breakdown with society, I'm certain that I would survive pretty well, to be quite honest with you. I've been preparing for such a situation for the majority of my life. I mean, look here, we got nuts and bolts for everything. It's amazing how much inventory there is on the property. Hopefully we never run into this situation, but it's better to be prepared than to get caught, how do they say it, with your pants down. Maybe not politically correct, but I am a little bit old school. And I think part of all this comes from the fact that my parents went through the Depression, and that was some pretty hard times, and they had that save everything attitude, and it transpired to me, so I've always clinged to just about everything. That lawnmower there is a 60-inch 3-cylinder diesel Toro. I've got 2 of those. They also help out with mowing the grass. Over here this is diesel fuel. There's 100 gallons there. I got another 50 gallons in another location. That's the pump to pump the diesel fuel. But the lawnmowers and 2 of the tractors use diesel. Those are batteries. They're part of the business. And that's the processing center there for the waste oil, where the waste oil gets dumped into a barrel, gets pumped through that pump, goes through a couple different filters, and then into the furnace. All this construction was done by myself and whatever labor I could scrounge up to help out. There's a torch set, sandblaster, the older Kubota tractor. It's just a part for somebody's car there. And then obviously over here on the left there's a lot of paint and miscellaneous storage there. Special equipment for working on cars. Now as we go out into the back lot, those yellow arm looking things you see on the left are 2-post lifts. Finally started to wear out and the arms started to sag, so we recently replaced those arms on the lift. This is a fenced in area out back that we can close the gate if necessary and secure this area. And then if you've seen one of my most recent videos, we just built the storage area for the attachments for the tractor. I want to keep them out of the weather, keep them organized. And a shipping container in the back that this building's built around is completely full of more fasteners and just different construction materials. I kind of get a lot of stuff from Habitat, and I get it at a good price, and I buy it in bulk and I just store it. Now that gate, that big X there, there's 2 X's, one on the gate and one to support them 2 poles together to support the weight of that gate. And those are solid rubber tires that the gate rolls on. And that's the car trailer. And this is just more storage construction materials I picked up from Habitat, except for the railroad ties. They came from not TSC, but the other major farm implement place. So those are all pavers and different things for projects down the road. That's more of the slag material. Now we're gonna head down to another property. Originally this was a 36-acre farm that my parents bought in 1972, and over the course of a few years they subdivided it down, and that's in 1974 is when I purchased my plot of 4.5 acres. And then obviously my parents left this world for a better place, and at different times. My dad went first, my mom went about 15-18 years later. But I bought her house out of the estate, and that's what we're approaching now, where you see that white barn. That was an acre and a half. So between the two properties now I have 6 acres out in the middle of the cornfield. The white pole barn, my dad and I built that in 1973 when I first went in the Army. I came home on leave and we built that pole barn, and it remained a shell for the entire time until I bought the property, and then I went in and completely remodeled the building. That big rock on the right, that came out of the fence line. The farmer was going to bury it, and I said, no, let's not bury it. And I got that from the farmer. This well is an actual working well put in the 1800s. It was part of the original farm, and my mom always favored that well, and I thought, I'm going to do something with it. So I actually had somebody do the masonry work. I built the wooden structure on top, and I turned it into it's actually a usable well. You take that bucket and drop it down in there and get water in an emergency situation. Should the electric or power grid go down, I do have access to water. Now this is another shipping container, and again it's full of materials that I've purchased from Habitat in bulk that I may set on for a few years, but eventually will use. Take notice to the grass, how green it is and how good it looks. And I'm not bragging here, but last year I completely redid all the grass with Kentucky Blue, 70% Kentucky Blue. That's the new well for the house when we completely remodeled the house, by the way. And then this is what I did to the old pole barn. I added the shipping container and completely redid the inside, upgraded the electricity, and turned out pretty nice. Nice little workshop for me. Okay, I don't know what happened. There was a little pause in the video, but that may just be a glitch. The new pole barn obviously is a little bit cluttered right now. Obviously you can see that there's a lot to keep up with here, and those potatoes and onions came out of the garden, and the fire extinguisher, the 200 amp service, the Habitat door, the Habitat wall coverings. It's amazing how much of this building's Habitat. The walls are packed with Habitat styrofoam. It was 2-inch thick rectangles that we custom fit in between the studs. So it's that's about 5.5 inches thick styrofoam. So this is really just a big king cooler that you're looking at here. This room here is where the furnace is. Those 2 pipes coming out of the ground there, that's future planning in case I want to run water lines in and sewage lines out. I'm set up to do that. Maybe put a bathroom in here someday. We got tile floor in here. It's that door on the left came from Habitat. That door back there in the background came from Habitat. And the door going into the office came from Habitat. For what it's worth, 15 bucks a piece, solid wooden doors. Probably from a building built in the 60s. Alright, this is the entrance to the office, which is extremely cluttered, so bear with me. I'm working on all this. But the office is, a lot of that material in there is from Habitat, covered doors and so on. And a lot of this is stuff I bought for the new shop, just new tools, different things I'm going to put on benches and so on when I get it all set up. And that's all coming soon. That's the original farm. My parents, again, bought the farm in '72, and they completely remodeled the house. This old garage is one of my next projects. I'm going to raise it up about 2 feet, put a foundation under it, wrap it with plywood, and I just bought 1,000 square feet of Habitat vinyl siding for pennies on a dollar, to be quite honest with you. That root cellar is part of the original farmhouse. If you don't know what a root cellar is, it's for storing, it's how they stored food in the 1800s before they had electric and refrigeration. I completely remodeled this house 2 years ago, went through and redid everything. It was quite a project. Now we're walking over towards the entryway to the property in the driveway. I didn't do a video on this, so I'm gonna call it a video right now. I got some drainage problems because the driveway restricts the water flow from its natural course, and I get some puddling. And what I'm going to do is, I've got this ditch. I dug that with that new attachment you might have seen in one of my other videos called the stump digger. I went through there and I dug this down. I'm going to establish some good flow to the culvert pipe down at the end of the road and get this water flowing off the property. I will probably film the rest of this as it comes along. As you can see, my neighbors over there, the cornfield. All right, the driveway's been there for a lot of years, and there's a lot of stone in there. But more recently, I've been using slag to dress the driveway up, and that material seems to be pretty daggone good. I have no potholes developing. The surface is extremely hard, and the trees you see on each side of the driveway, I planted those in 1985. They were just little, starter trees. They were just one little stick, and they've matured to quite good looking trees. The property obviously was farmland when I got it, so I tore out all the original fence rows and just so many things over the years. It's unbelievable. This mulch to me is like a blessing. I get that from the guys that go around and trim the trees, and they just bring it and dump it, and I use the tractor and spread it like it's mulch. But it's all over the property at this point, and it's really nice. It cuts down on the need to spray chemicals, because it makes such a barrier that the plant life can't come up through it. Recently we put the driveway to the right in, about a year ago. There's a video on it. We'll walk down that driveway now. It really helped with traffic flow. People can come in and just make a big loop instead of trying to turn around once they get in. Now, part of country living is manure. You see a pile there on the left, and you see some in the garden, and I have more coming. That straw we'll use next spring to put between the rows. But the garden, I haven't gardened in quite a few years, but I started again this year. So whenever I do gardening, I like the back to Eden style gardening with all natural compost materials. And back there you can see that windbreak, that big wall of dirt that I put in several years ago. And I don't know if you can see it clearly, but there's a lot of mulch in that fence row to the right. We recently did a video on installing this culvert pipe. Now these two stones are part of the old foundation for the old barn that used to sit on the original property. A tornado took it out in the early 70s, mid 70s, and when I planted the grass, I dug those up and got them out of the ground. This is James Carpenter with Country Living. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.